Changes to Illinois' controversial Safety Act now await the governor's signature.
Democrats tweaked the law after its cashless bail component faced a lot of criticism during last month's election. Among the changes, a clarification that more crimes can result in a person being held in jail while they await trial. The new legislation also further specified when a judge can determine a defendant is a danger to others and should be detained. Governor Pritzker has said that he is pleased with the changes and will sign them into law.
Republican DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin is among those, including some Democrats who expressed significant concerns about the original law. And he's joining us now to talk a little bit more about the changes. Are you feeling a little bit more comfortable with the changes now in the Safety Act?
Well, while the changes aren't perfect, they are a tremendous improvement over what was originally in the law.
Okay.
So let's go through it, because some of the criticism was that if you're charged with a crime, in many cases a judge had no way to keep you locked up. Has that been changed?
Yes, the dangerousness standard has been changed. Before, we had to show somebody was a threat to a specific named individual. Now they have put in the law a threat to the community. So judges can detain people if they're a threat to the community, and they expanded the number of offenses and the types of offenses that somebody can be detained for under the definition of dangerousness.
So give me an example. So one of the things that they want to do, as we're talking about, is consistency in what prosecutors have to present to determine that someone is a threat. So what are some of those things that a prosecutor would have to walk in with to say this person is deemed a threat, hold them in jail?
So it's based on the specific facts of the case. So we're going to have a detailed presentation of what the facts of the case are, as well as the defendant's background. And a judge can consider all of that, really can consider any evidence as it relates to dangerousness, the dangerousness standard proving that.
During the campaign for governor, Darren Bailey and other Republicans said, on January 1st, the jail doors were going to swing open and people who were locked up awaiting trial would be let out. Is that still a concern?
They addressed that in this amendment. So depending on whether we're going to proceed under dangerousness or a willful flight risk, there are time frames where we have to file petitions, either 30 days or 60 days. For those who do not fit under the detainable standard, there will be 7 days to have a hearing, and the hearings are at the defendant's request.
Okay.
So they can choose to go under the new law or the old law.
Okay.
Is that a good thing that they can choose? They're the ones that can choose if they...
Well, if a defendant is really close to posting bond, they may not want to take the chance of having a detention hearing where they could be detained without the ability to post. So it's actually fair.
So the point of a cashless bail system is so a defendant's ability to pay isn't the sole determining factor in whether or not they have to stay in jail awaiting trial. Do these changes achieve that without new risks of dangerous people being released?
I think the changes protect the community. I really do. I think judges now have the tools they need. They have the discretion to detain violent criminals, and that's what we were concerned about.
But so let me ask you a specific question about your county, because traditionally judges in DuPage County, they've issued higher bonds for crimes like carjacking or unlawful possession of a gun, while in Cook County, the defendant might get an electronic monitor and be told to go. So there was essentially kind of a two-tier system depending on where you committed the crime. Do you think that remains in DuPage? They just seem to be tougher on crime.
Well, I can tell you in DuPage County, yes, that is our reputation. We protect the community, and I expect that will be the same. We have judges who follow the law. I expect they're going to continue to do so. We're blessed with a tremendous judiciary, and we are going to file petitions on violent cases where people should be detained. We will do that in order to protect the community.
All right. Thanks for coming in this afternoon. State's Attorney Bob Berlin, we appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you.